No bap, the current state of Chicago's drill music is so fried. We got crash out artists from out of state really importing beefs right now. As if one mass shooting,
4 people were killed and 14 others were injured.
A federal indictment.
Rapper's father, who hosted that album release party last week, is now facing gun charges. Melvin Doyle, the father of rapper Mellow Bucks, indicted on federal gun charges.
And multiple bodies on each side wasn't enough. The ongoing war in the new era Chicago drill scene got people from all walks of life coming in and dissing anyone on the other side. They're not even trying to speak in code or keep it low key at all. Both sides have been blatantly expressing murking each other and don't even care about the consequences in the most self-snitching way possible. Over the past 48 hours, Philly rapper SKRILLA has come out and teased the fire YFG FATSO diss that has been going viral, with many Chicago fans even saying that the song is fire. SKRILLA basically went in going crazy on YFG FATSO and dissing his dead homie Drills, an apparent top shooter and allegedly the reason for the retaliatory mass shooting that went down at the Mellow Bucks album release party just last week. To the average fan, it might seem completely random, like why SKRILLA, who's damn near an unk right now, would come crazy at a young up and coming rapper from a whole different city. However, the always present gang ties within the city in a wild attempt at SKRILLA's life just last year in another mass shooting.
They just shot a lot of shots. Right here.
All I heard was gunshots, and that's all.
Came out of
almost took out him, Bloodhound Q50, and infamous YouTuber Brandon Buckingham. And that has many people pointing to this back and forth as a major escalation in a feud that has literally resulted in probably a dozen or more deaths and has no signs of slowing down. So today, we gotta get into the crazy ass beef that has SKRILLA and YFG FATSO trading shots and threatening each other's lives on Instagram. But before we do, gang, you already know what we gotta do. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Make sure you check out the merch link in the description at staysafeworld.com. Man, if everyone who listens to this video actually subscribed, we would go up. Next goal is 30k subscribers. We at 26 right now, man. Make sure you tap in and subscribe so we can run this up. We on the road to 100k subscribers. Real say shit. You already know what's going on. Let's tap in with this chapter 1. Let's get it. Imagine almost getting smoked for a game war that you willingly choose to be in. You're not even from the damn city yourself. You really can't make this shit up. And the way these dudes be moving, literally posting their every move, I just hope shit don't get even more serious than it's already been. Kensington, North Philadelphia rapper SKRILLA has said before that Chicago is like his second home. While most rappers will pull up to a city, link with another rapper who would motion and then leave, SKRILLA literally was damn near living out in the 79th and Maryland area with one of the most infamous gangs in the city. While moving out there for a little got him a lot of motion and collabs with some of the biggest artists in the city right now, being associated with a gang that has beef in every direction will have you inheriting problems like they're your own. On the other side, YFG FATSO, the rising OTF rapper, signed to Lil Durk, who's been making a lot of motion in the city, is probably the most hated rapper right now. His gang's close ties to some of the biggest ops of the Bloodhounds and G Herbo's gang NLMB definitely has him looking over his shoulder too. However, it doesn't seem like he's afraid to stand up to anyone, giving the disrespect, and literally commented some crazy posts basically saying that he better watch his back when he's in the city before he dies over something that he doesn't even know about. A super crazy warning if you know the backstory of how he almost died in the city before in a wild mass shooting. In order to even understand how this got to this point, you have to understand the gangs in the southeast section of the city that have gained a crazy amount of motion within the last several years. Like I said before, while being out on the rack, SKRILLA's been tapped in with the Bloodhound members like Bloodhound Q50 and Burt. They're a gang based out of the 79th and Maryland area, originally from a set called Drill City. The Bloodhounds are more of the younger members with ties to this area that are extremely active and are known for sliding on their ops and being some of the most aggressive shooters I've ever seen. Over the past 2 years, younger members of 079 Bloodhounds went from being relatively unknown to blowing up nationwide seemingly overnight off the strength of their fallen member and apparent serial killer Bloodhound Lil Jeff and their close friend and fallen member Lil Scoom, who is from a gang called Burley Boys with also close ties to NLMB. Bloodhound Lil Jeff was Bloodhound Q50's cousin and was like the younger reincarnation of King Von for a lot of the YNs growing up in the city on some street shit. He was known for catching multiple bodies.
Chicago police investigating a fatal shooting yesterday evening. 19-year-old Jaleel Goins was pronounced dead at Rush University Medical Center, but police and nearby residents tell us the incident began in the 1300 block of West Taylor Street, where Goins was a passenger in a rideshare and was shot.
The search is on for the gunman who shot and killed 2 teenagers right in the middle of the loop during the busy lunch hour yesterday. The victims were leaving their high school. CBS 2's Noel Brennan has more on the investigation.
Teens made it only steps away from the front door of their school, and the shooting happened here, right next to the elevator that leads up to the L tracks.
Chicago police say 2 teens are shot. 17-year-old Monterio Williams and 16-year-old Robert Boston did not survive. Surveillance video captures the teens leaving Innovations High School as a dark sedan pulls up. At least one person gets out, runs up to the teen.
The one in the Little Italy section of the city on their biggest ops trap city, or 2 bodies at once in a broad daylight shooting in downtown, allegedly for people stealing his watch. Unfortunately, he would die while sliding on their ops trap city, but this would open doors for rapper Bloodhound Q50. Q50, seeing the buzz he got from his cousin being a top shooter, decided to actually start taking rap more seriously, and pretty much instantly blew up shortly after his cousin died. This would get him a pretty good deal with Lil Bibby, who's one of the main members of the East Side based gang NLMB, along with G Herbo. SKRILLA, seeing this, would come to the city sometime last year, be posted up with Q50 and them on the regular. At the same time, YFG FATSO, at only 17, is making major waves in the city while being discovered by Durk's label after rapping for years. After initially getting citywide fame from a song called Go Go when he was just 12 years old, he'd stay consistent and would keep dropping. Him being from the south side, he was also tied in with a lot of street shit, with a side that's pretty much full of ops with both the Bloodhounds and NLMB. Originally from the East Chatham area, he's an alleged member of a mostly GD gang called 8 Block or 808 Mob, based in the Princeton Park area on 88th and Princeton. One of the original sets of gangster disciples that dates all the way back to the civil rights era in Chicago, where neighborhood groups formed to protect their areas in a pretty much lawless area. They eventually transformed into gangs and have a pretty long historical beef with their neighbors to the east, NLMB. NLMB, or No Limit Muskegon Boys, is a set of renegade GDs, Black P Stones, and BDs in the 78th and Muskegon Avenue area, right off of Exchange. At one point, 2 gangs merged together, which formed their name No Limit, being a renegade faction of Black P Stones, and Muskegon Boys, a renegade set of gangster disciples, NLMB. They have a long history too, spanning over 30 years. The most recognizable subset is a group of Black P Stones called Drench Gang, which is where G Herbo and Bibby are from. Historically, NLMB has had beef with 808 Mob being so close together, and add in the presence of the Bloodhounds with beef with other GDs in their area, it's pretty much just like a war zone where literally any type of crazy shit could happen and everyone has multiple beefs. YFG FATSO beefing with them ended up clicking up with other groups in the area like the infamous 095 Mob. This is where his homie Drills is from, and also a group with a long-term beef with the Bloodhounds. Off rip, these 2 sides have had tension, but one specific shooting on November 10th, 2022 would most likely be the flashpoint which would get Bloodhounds and YFG to being actively beefing like crazy. The death of 095 member Boogie, which we'll get into in chapter 2. If you're a fan of Bloodhound Q50, then you definitely have heard about him talking and claiming the work of Boogie. Boogie was a beloved 095 member that unfortunately was gunned down in a chaotic scene in broad daylight that literally was so crazy it forced the whole McDonald's to shut down. Imagine being such a danger to the community that your actions literally close a whole McDonald's and you brag about it constantly, bruh. If you listen to Bloodhound Q50's music, this is like the #1 scenario that this dude be talking about on the regular. I'm pretty sure I've seen it in multiple songs. Bro has an IG live asking his ops why they can't go to their friendly neighborhood McDonald's anymore. Has songs and IG videos where he references McDonald's. It's one of the pillars of Q50's personality at this point, and it all dates back to a broad daylight shooting at an infamous McDonald's on the south side of Chicago.
Young man that got shot, he went running back into McDonald's, and a CTA bus operator caught him as he fell. One ran around the back by the Maxwell Street hot dog stand, and he succumbed to his injuries. He fell.
Thursday night, crews boarding up the windows of this McDonald's on 95th Street, just off the Dan Ryan, where police say a woman and 2 men were shot.
Apparently a car pulled up with an individual who shot who opened and shot at least 29 shell casings.
Chicago. One of the most mentioned beefs that Bloodhounds have is primarily with the GD set of 095 Mob. And the story behind this is something I've never really seen before, you know. Apparently rumors basically pin 95 Mob stealing something from the Bloodhounds, but it's like most beefs in the Chicago, it doesn't really matter how things started, it just matters how things escalate. And escalate they did, bruh. Well, one day on November 10th, 2022, an OG from the 095 Mob named Rodney Stone, who also went by Boogie, was visiting a McDonald's with his mother and brother on 95th Street. A quick family outing for some burgers quickly escalated into a broad daylight shooting when a white Infiniti pulled up in the parking lot and two men began shooting at the family. The brother was shot in the back, but he survived when he ran inside and fell into security's arms. The mother was shot in the arm, but she also survived. However, Boogie was not very lucky because when the shooters came, he tripped and fell, and they switched him multiple times as he was the intended target. He would later die at the scene. This shooting was so brazen that not long after this, the McDonald's would board up its windows and close for good, as this was one of several violent incidents at this restaurant, with multiple others happening over time. Like apparently Lil J got shot in the ass there while ordering one of the most dangerous McDonald's in the city. Obviously, being so tight with 095 Mob, YFG FATSO was already gonna have issues with Q50. And that means Skrilla will inherit this beef also. While they hadn't directly started getting active against each other yet, at this point, things would take a turn for the worse when YFG FATSO and Lil Scoom would go back and forth over stolen lyrics, which we'll get into in chapter 3, Nightcrawler, the death of Lil Scoom. Fast forward a couple months after the death of 095 Boogie and Lil Jeff, Lil Scoom, YFG FATSO, and Q50 would all be starting to break out within the city. However, this would be where things would go in the complete wrong direction. It would all start with the song Nightcrawler. Lil Scoom would be dropping his song Nightcrawler, which would end up being one of his biggest songs, currently at almost 5 million views. At the same time, many would notice that YFG FATSO would be promoting a song with very similar lyrics and a flow. This would start a whole debate over who made the song first. Scoom would say he made the song first because he dropped the video before Fatso, but YFG FATSO would say that he had the song, but his song was going viral at the time, so Scoom had definitely heard it somewhere. It's kind of hard to tell who's right and who's wrong, but it really wouldn't matter because they would just start dissing. Scoom would drop his infamous diss track towards YFG FATSO that Bloodhound Lil Jeff would co-sign on an IG Live called Boss Man Remix. He would hop on the beat for Boss Man, D-Lo's Pissed Off, and drop a whole diss track towards YFG FATSO, saying Fatso's a bitch, he ain't on shit, and he better play his part. This would spark a back and forth between them. However, tragedy would strike almost a year ago from today, when Lil Scoom would get caught up in a deadly ambush.
News, we've learned a teenager has died and another is hurt after a shooting in Chatham. It happened around midnight, right near 89th and Langley. Police are telling us the two teens got into an argument with someone who shot both of them. The 18-year-old died at the hospital. The 16-year-old is expected to recover.
That night, Lil Scoom and an LMB member by the name of Will were in the 700 block of East 89th place. Apparently, a female had told them to slide. While there, video surveillance shows a nervous Scoom talking to a woman, essentially telling him to wait outside. It was at this point a tinted SUV would pull up on the group, causing Scoom to run. A group then got out of the car and chased him down, killing him on the 700 block of 89th place. Police were apparently close by and raced to the area where they were apparently met with gunfire. The car was able to pull back up and pick up the shooters. They apparently got away with zero trace. This death pretty much shocked the drill world, especially since ring camera footage came out with a girl seemingly setting up Scoom, and it would go viral. However, not long after his death, a set of four corner hustlers named Risky Road from 104 in Maryland would be trolling his death to the fullest, which would make people believe they had something to do with it, especially since Scoom had previously trolled them about taking out one of their members shortly before their passing. Shortly after his passing, YFG FATSO would be seen with Risky Road filming music videos seemingly dissing Scoom. He would then drop Unusual Slender 3.0, which would come out the same day that Scoom died and was an older Scoom diss. Safe to say, this definitely left bad blood with the Bloodhounds dissing someone who was so loved by them. This pretty much set the stage for multiple groups to put a green light on one another on sight, and tragedy would almost strike again, with Risky Road members shooting Skrilla, Q50, and popular YouTuber Brandon Buckingham last year in another mass shooting outside of a recording studio, which we're going to get into in chapter 4. Skrilla gets shot. A couple weeks after Philly rapper YBC Duel's murder, Brandon Buckingham was reportedly on his next mission to film with SKRILLA, Bloodhound Q50, and Vert, and others out in Chicago, as they were probably making the biggest motion at the time. Brandon has been seen doing drugs with Q50 just a couple days before the incident in question, so it was safe to say at the time that he was pretty tied in with the Bloodhounds, while SKRILLA was posted up there too. The thing about the Chicago shit, which we gone over I guess, is people let their guard down when they're in other areas of the city that aren't like the south side, because at 2 a.m. in the northwest Chicago studios called Fort Knox, a mass shooting would go down that would affect this group forever.
A lot of what happened remains under investigation, but this does appear to have been an ambush of some sort. The owner of the building across the street telling ABC7 that his surveillance video shows the vehicle with the shooters parking in his lot about 40 minutes before a group of 5 or 6 hooded men jumped out and opened fire.
We have the person from Knox being transported to Masonic with the grave wound to the neck.
Detectives were still on the scene early this afternoon as they continued to investigate an overnight shooting that left 4 men injured as they walked down the sidewalk in front of Fort Knox Studios in the Old Irving Park neighborhood around 2:30 a.m.
And all of a sudden I woke up and heard gunshots, and it sounded like automatic machine guns or something going back and forth.
And while officially police say they're still investigating the circumstances, overnight scanner traffic relayed what appeared to be a first-hand account from one of the injured.
All we have is that this gentleman said that he was shooting a rap video. He's a videographer. He walked out and he heard they shot about 30 to 40 shots. He doesn't know the make of the model, doesn't hear that. He said they went the length of the street and were just shooting, and he caught one in the neck.
According to the owner of the music studio, while the building was already closed at that time, one of his long-term tenants with overnight access was using one of the many recording studios inside at the time of the incident. The injured appeared to have been among that tenant's guests, but he says he does not know who they were or what exactly they were doing.
At around 2:45 a.m., SKRILLA, Brandon Buckingham, Q50, and Brandon Buckingham's videographer will pull up to Fort Knox studio. Arriving to the studio, it seems that at least according to Brandon, they were being stalked. He pretty much gave a large amount of details in his explanation. As you know, I've been silent online, so I wanted to let y'all know what's been going on with me. I have been in the midst of 2 different shootings in the past 2 months, the most recent of which 6 gunmen stalked us, waited for us to leave the studio, and emptied over 60 rounds at us at close range, one of which hit my cameraman in his neck, coming very close to killing him. Get back would come quickly, as Q50 and SKRILLA would pretty much diss someone close to Risky Road who apparently got murked in retaliation, named CEO Hawkham. CEO Hawkham would apparently get murked while doing a drill just shortly after. As you can tell, this constant circle of violence almost always involves someone tied into YFG FATSO or SKRILLA. On top of this, SKRILLA would drop his first song after getting shot in the leg, where he would literally name drop Risky Road, dissing them, which makes sense after he literally survived an attempt on his life. Thankfully though, nobody died in that first mass shooting that almost took out SKRILLA, Q50, and Brandon. But just last week, a mass shooting in the River North neighborhood would make news all over the country, and many pointed to it as retaliation for a shooter named Drills who was gunned down, which we'll get into in chapter 5. After the Brandon Buckingham shootout, there was not really any notable rappers who were involved in the shootings for mad long. While all sides would continue to diss over and over, members of Bloodbath, a clique where rapper Chucky is from, will be dissing 095 Mob on the regular. This apparently took a member named Drills the wrong way, and he apparently went and slide about it in Bloodbath territory, and he would become another victim to get gunned down while trying to go on a drill. And members of Bloodbath would go crazy, literally dissing him.
Why is your homie trying to push up on us doing rookie shit? Don't push up on us if you're wrong for now. Fuck drills, nigga. Oh, bro. Fucking see you, gang.
Talking all types of crazy about the fact that he pushed up on them on some rookie shit and got gunned down. But this is like a constant thing that happens. You see Bloodhound Lil Jeff got killed doing that, CEO Hawkham got killed doing that, and now we got Drills who apparently got killed with that. Keep in mind though that NLMB has a lot of different ops that they diss on the regular, which makes it even harder to know who they exactly is causing these issues. But just last week, a mass shooting in the River North neighborhood would make news all over the country, and many pointed to it as retaliation for Drills, who was gunned down. I'm not sure if NLMB Mellow Bucks was aware of the ongoing situation with groups tied to her, but it apparently didn't stop her from wanting to do a release party at a spot called Artist Lounge in the River North area of the city. This setting was almost identical to how King Von's homie Munna Duke was caught lacking like last month. At the spot, it seemed like a large group of people were just posted outside smoking, lacking, because they're in a safe area of the city known for bars and dispensaries. However, a dark car would be seen lurking on CCTV footage, driving back and forth that nobody noticed. And this would be the downfall of 4 people who were there and over 19 people who were injured.
We start with new information on the deadly River North mass shooting. The gunman targeted people as they stood outside the Artist Lounge, where an album release party had just wrapped up for Chicago rapper Mellow Bucks. We have live team coverage on the River North mass shooting, starting with CBS News Chicago investigator Tara Molina, who has the latest on the investigation. Tara.
Erica, police have confirmed this shooting that left 2 men and 2 women in their 20s dead was not random. This was a targeted shooting. I asked the Chicago police superintendent about concerns that this incident was gang-related, with corresponding concerns about retaliation. Take a look at your screen. This new video shows the moment the car drove up to Artist Lounge at Chicago and Franklin, the people inside firing guns. You can actually see the flashes of light from the gunfire. We've blurred the images of the victims. The calls for help started coming in around 11, with 18 people shot, 4 of them killed.
Hey, squad, we need more ambos out here. We don't have nearly enough.
The venue targeted, according to police. We know the crowd was leaving the album release party for Chicago-born rapper Mellow Bucks. Her new album, Hollyhood. She confirmed on social media many of the people hurt were her friends.
This wasn't some random shooting where someone just decided that they were going to shoot at this particular group of people.
Chicago police said around 11 p.m., a dark vehicle drove past the building in the 300 block of West Chicago Avenue, where 3 people from inside fired shots into a crowd of people standing on the sidewalk. The crowd was said to just leave Artist Lounge following an album release for Mellow Bucks. Multiple people died. YFG FATSO went on to troll, literally like making fun of everything that went there.
You talk about Adam down, put his ass in the wood too. Hey, what? We gotta go get like 5 red lighters real quick.
Shortly after this shooting, SKRILLA would tease a new song where he disses Drills and says he's smoking him. YFG FATSO would respond on his Instagram in the most incriminating way possible, basically saying don't die over something that you don't even know. You're not even from here. And he says you're hiding in Philly, basically. Honestly, bro, I feel like, if anyone has a right to diss someone, it would definitely be SKRILLA. Bro literally got shot in the leg over this whole situation, so it kind of makes sense why bro be dissing, but he's just dissing that whole side. It's just crazy to see how this convoluted giant web of like gang ties has people really just like ready to just kill random people, anyone that they can find that's somewhat associated with this group, which is pretty sad and definitely a reason why the murder rate continues. But hopefully this type of situation is just something that like defuses. YFG FATSO's just still a kid. He's like 17, so he's definitely like mentally fried, probably off the drugs and the gas all day, brain not even developed, man. He's honestly just probably acting crazy. At the same time, we got SKRILLA, who is off the shit too, so it's just like battle with the junkies at this point, bro. But honestly, I just hope that no one really ends up getting murked, because that shit is not a game. That shit is very real life, and also what we're trying to avoid, man. But hey, let me know in the comments what y'all think about this whole situation. Real stay safe shit. You already know what's going on. Like, comment, subscribe, gang. Peace.